most legendary electric basses in history. There is a very close relationship between the electric guitar and the electric bass. In principle, all the basics that we know about the electric guitar in terms of types of wood, construction, and electronics are also essentially reflected in the electric bass. The standard tuning of both instruments is also shared, since the tuning of a 4-string bass is exactly the same as that of a guitar, without taking into account the 2 highest strings of the guitar. So any guitarist has the necessary knowledge to be able to play a bass. Another question would be having the necessary condition to be a good bass player. It is not surprising that many guitarists have a bass in their arsenal of instruments to enjoy its sound, or to create their own accompaniments. In fact, many bassists began their careers playing the guitar, or simply play both instruments with skill, as in the case of the great guitarist Buckethead. There is a myth that most bass players are frustrated guitarists. But in reality, being a good bass player requires more than just putting down the guitar and picking up the bass. It also takes a lot of talent and effort to develop its different techniques, in addition to having the ability to create good rhythms and accompaniments or play a good solo with this instrument. It is widely believed that Leo Fender was the inventor of this instrument, but in fact the first incarnation of the electric bass was produced by the American manufacturer Paul Tutmark in the early 1930s. Although at that time was not very successful. While Leo Fender was not the first to imagine such an instrument, he was the first to do it well. The Californian genius developed, together with his collaborators, several of the most iconic bass guitars in history. He also established the standard scale length measurement of 34 inches for the instrument. For this reason, the invention is most commonly credited to Leo Fender, with the development of none other than the Fender Precision Bass. The first commercially viable electric bass in history, a bestseller since its launch in 1951 up to the present day. Quickly replacing the double bass due to its smaller size and its high volume and forcefulness, thanks to the simple amplification of the instrument. Although the double bass continued to be part of some popular musical genres, such as rockabilly. The Fender Precision Bass is also known simply as the P-Bass. The term P-Bass is used today as a standard to refer to any instrument built to its basic construction in electronics design. The Precision offers a deep, round and aggressive sound, making it an instrument especially appreciated by musicians of hard-hitting genres such as Steve Harris of Iron Maiden or Glenn Hughes of Deep Purple and Black Sabbath. Although this bass has been used by countless musicians such as Roger Waters of Pink Floyd or Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy. An electric bass that has been part of countless pop, rock, soul and funk hits, and is possibly the most used bass in history. The Precision Bass features a thicker C-shaped neck profile compared to other electric basses. This feature clearly influences the resonance of the instrument and provides the characteristic sound of this magnificent electric bass. In 1960, Fender would launch its second electric bass design, the legendary Fender Jazz Bass. Another bass that is part of the legend of the instrument. Used by a large number of bassists such as Marcus Miller or Jaco Pastorius. The Jazz Bass is probably one of the most versatile basses, as it has 2 electromagnetic pickups, placed in different places on the body of the instrument to offer a very wide range of sounds both separately and using both pickups together. A bass guitar's iconic that is easier to play thanks to its thinner neck for easier speed. His sound a brighter, more defined sound than the Precision. The Rickenbacker 4001 is another of the most iconic Bay guitars, was released as an improved version of the 4000 series between 1961 and 1981. It was later replaced by the Rickenbacker 4003, and the latter is the model that is currently manufactured. Used by bassists such as Lemmy Kilmister of Motorhead, Les Claypool, or Robert Trujillo of the band Metallica. This bass is neck-through, as the neck runs through the entire body of the instrument. The Rickenbacker circuit allows the possibility of sending the signal from its pickups separately to different amplifiers. The sound of this bass is very unique, powerful and with sustain, which has allowed it to compete with Fender Precision or jazz basses. The Höfner 500/1 is a hollow-body electric bass, launched by the German brand in the 1950s, popularized in the 1960s by Paul McCartney. This instrument is also known as the Beetle bass, or violin bass. Today this bass is manufactured in different versions, and we can also opt for the Epiphone viola bass. The Höfner is a very handy bass, thanks to its small size, its medium 30-inch scale, and its hollow body that significantly lightens the weight of the instrument. As a result, it is a very comfortable bass to play, as well as having a very natural tone similar to that of a classic double bass thanks to its hollow body. After Leo Fender sold his company and worked for some time as an employee of CBS, in 1971 Fender founded the company Music Man with other collaborators. And if you think that after designing two legendary basses like the Jazz and the Precision his talent had run dry, you are wrong. Since in 1976 he launched another of the most iconic Bay guitars, which has gone down in history as a modern version of his classic Precision bass, the Music Man Stingray bass. But with a distinctive and innovative sound, more aggressive, sharp and powerful. This made it a very suitable instrument for the new musical trends, being a success since its launch. In addition, the Stingray bass would be the first mass-produced bass that incorporated an active preamp for equalizing the instrument. Among the many bassists who have used the Stingray are Cliff Williams of AC/DC. In addition to John Deacon of Queen, and Flea of Red Hot Chili Peppers. Although Flea, and many of the bassists mentioned above, have probably used almost all of the basses mentioned above. Currently, the Music Man brand belongs to Ernie Ball, and its products are quite expensive, but in the Sterling by Music Man brand, we can find models at a very affordable price. The Californian brand Alembic is one of those manufacturers that cannot be missing from the list of legendary electric basses. While Music Man developed the first mass-produced electric basses with an active circuit, Alembic would be the first brand to create and market electric basses with this quality. Although Alembic doesn't mass-produce, this brand handcrafts instruments with sophisticated electronic circuitry, exotic woods, and intricate artistic designs. Therefore, these are high-end products and obviously very expensive. This brand is considered one of the most influential in the development of the electric bass, and its creations have been used by many great bassists such as John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin, Louis Johnson, or Cliff Burton of Metallica. The first Alembic bass was delivered to Jack Cassidy in 1971, and the manufacturer would begin to become a reference brand, especially since the influential and innovative bassist Stanley Clarke appropriated one of these basses in 1973, and appeared with it on the cover of his first solo album published in 1974. The bass delivered to Stanley Clarke would later be known as the short-scale Series 1 model, marketed in 1975 alongside the Series 2 model. One of Alembic's legendary models was the one developed according to the design of bassist John Entwistle of the band The Who. John acquired up to 15 copies of the model known as Exploiter over the years. The body shape of this bass is blatantly similar to that designed by Gibson for its Explorer models. Alembic currently offers 10 electric bass models in terms of shape, construction, electronics, and medium, short and long scale, and can be customized to the buyer's taste. The different types of Alembic range from approximately $3,000 for the 4-string XL and Epic models, to more than $12,000 for a 6-string Series 2. Another manufacturer that is an important part of the history of the electric bass is the English brand Wal, a legendary manufacturer in the development of historic electric basses, thanks to its famous MK series with active circuit. Instruments used by many professionals, such as Mike Hogan of the Cranberries, Geddy Lee, or John Illsley of Dire Straits. Typical of Wal Basses is their additional low-impedance balanced output, ideal for connecting to a stage or studio mixer, without the need for an external direct injection box, to avoid an excessive load of interference. The supply of Wal Basses is very limited, as its artisanal, detailed, and production with customizable options greatly limits its production. Therefore, its manufacture is done exclusively by order, with a long waiting time and with a price starting at around $6,000. I know that both Alembic and Wal are instruments practically inaccessible, but it doesn't hurt to know them in order to know what you have in front of you, if you ever have the luck to see one up close. But later on, other much more affordable classic models appear. Warrant MKs come in 3 different body shapes for 4-string basses, named MK1, MK2, and MK3. 5-string models are found in the MK2 and MK3 series. 6-string models are found only in the MK3 series. This brand is also famous for its fretless bass models. This type of bass has a very characteristic sound which is close to tones similar to those of the classic double bass. Playing a fretless neck requires greater precision when playing notes. Since there are no frets, we would have to press in the exact spot to make the note sound in tune. Some fretless basses are marked in semitones, with the same arrangement as a fretted neck, to make it easier for us to press in the right place. Although the fretless bass is generally associated with jazz music, but it is not unusual to find them in genres such as funk, rock, salsa, flamenco, or even heavy metal. This bass type was popularized primarily by Jaco Pastorius, although Pino Palladino also became very famous precisely for playing this bass type and for his almost perfect tuning. In the Squier brand, we can find some fretless models such as Precision and Jazz Classic, at very interesting prices. Obviously, Gibson also has a lot to say when it comes to legendary electric basses. The brand moves the designs of the most famous Gibson guitars to its electric bass version. Like the model introduced in 1961, with the popular Gibson SG guitar shape. Named at the time as the Gibson EB3, but now known as the Gibson SG bass. Used by Jack Bruce of Cream, Bill Wyman of the Rolling Stones, or Geezer Butler of Black Sabbath. This bass features the slim body characteristic of the SG model and a short scale length of 30.5 inches. With a long scale length, we have the Epiphone EB3 for an approximate price of around $450. In 1963, Gibson introduced the Thunderbird model, similar in aesthetics and construction to the Gibson Firebird, and with a long 34-inch scale. Used by countless bassists such as Chris Novoselic of Nirvana, Zeta Bosio of Soda Stereo, or Adam Clayton of U2. One of the particular features of this bass is its neck-through construction, just like the Gibson Firebird guitar model. In Gibson's subsidiary brand, we can find the Epiphone Thunderbird Vintage Pro model with this quality for just over $640. Okay, I hope this video helps you learn about some of the historic electric bass models and brands. Although, as with electric guitars, the range of models is very extensive.